who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome, everyone, to World of Wonders Wow Report on Radio Andy, where we count down the top 10 things from the past week that make us go wow. I'm James St. James, founder and CEO of World of Wonder.
Well, close.
This is my podcast now. I'm doing it my way. Actually, I'm James St. James, the editor of the Wow Report, and sitting in for Tom Campbell and Fenton Bailey this week are our millennial producer, Blake Jacobs.
Hi, everyone.
And the executive editor of Hornet, Stephen Horbell.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy that you're here. You are also a nightlife legend and the best friend of Blake Jacobs.
Mm-hmm. I've met him a few times, yeah.
You guys are roommates.
Yes.
And I know there's some stories there that I can get
that
from
cannot be
you.
shared on the radio.
You can also watch us on the Wow Report at Wow Presents, our YouTube channel. All you have to do is search for Radio Andy.
Fabulous. Let's get right to it. Number 10, Blake, what do you got?
Number 10.
Well, I went to see the new movie Crawl. Have you heard of it?
Yes, the alligator movie.
Yeah, I saw it. Well, first of all, I saw it in the same theater that we saw your freak show in.
Oh, nice. Yes, at the ArcLight.
Yeah, I haven't been in that theater since then, and I was like, oh my God. I remember sitting
Good
here
times.
with Trudy Styler and
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, that was the first part. And then, so it's directed by Alexandre Aja. He's a French director.
Related to our drag queen, Aja?
No, not related to her, but he did The Hills Have Eyes. And he also did that movie Horns. Remember with Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah,
Okay,
he grew
I
the
saw that
horns.
one.
Yeah.
And he also did Piranha 3D, which is kind
I
of...
love the Piranha movies.
I think we talked about it when we first started this show. But
I went to the one where it was like Lake Havasu, and it was like
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so,
and it had the guy.
so he likes the creature features. then.
Right.
But it was the cute guy from Vampire Diaries. Remember the
Ian
Somerhalder?
No. The brother who was Steve McQueen Jr. Remember Steve McQueen's son?
Steve McQueen.
Yes,
Isn't his name Steve McQueen? I think so.
Anyway.
It's produced by Sam Raimi, who did Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It stars Kaya Scodelario.
Kaya Scodelario. I love Kaya Scodelario.
Well, I bet you do because she was in Skins, the UK
yes,
one.
sure. Okay.
And she was also in Maze Runner.
I love the Maze Runner
Okay.
movies. Yeah, with Dylan.
Yeah, the one
You got me.
From Teen Wolf.
from Teen Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was also Ted Bundy's wife in Extremely Wicked.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then she's Haley. And
Is she the one? Because basically, there's a hurricane or a.
so there's a hurricane, and she is a swimmer at guess where? The University of Florida for the Gators.
Oh no. Okay.
Naturally, yeah.
Go Gators.
So her sister calls her and is like, "Can you please go down to or wherever they live and check on Dad?" So she goes down there, drives around town, finds them in the crawl space of their house. That's why it's called Crawl. I was like, why is it
Wait,
called
she finds
Crawl?
who in the crawl space?
Her dad.
Is he alive?
Yeah, I mean, he was down there
trapped in the crawl
fixing
space.
stuff.
And he got trapped there
Gotcha.
during the hurricane because
Gotcha.
Well,
the
she didn't-
waters is rising.
Well, she didn't know what happened at first. She just found him down there hurt. And so she was like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And tries to drag him. And then that's when the first gator, and she realizes that there are gators in the crawl space with them, and they can't get out. So most of the movie...
so this isn't like mutant gators. It's just
These
regular
aren't
gators.
meth gators that we've been hearing about. No.
Or gators with knives stuck in their heads.
Well, she did stab one, I think.
Oh.
Oh, and I have seen it in the commercial where there's the one with the knife in his head. Yes.
Well, it was a recent story from Texas. Yeah.
Oh,
there was a
okay.
gator that had a knife in
I
its head
do.
and it couldn't
Yes.
get the
Okay.
knife out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this art imitating life or life imitating art? Which happened first?
Who is Art? It was really good. I mean, if you're into the creature feature, Jaws, Piranha kind of movies, it was kind of cheesy because their parents just broke up and her mom is in Paris and her dad is just distraught. And there's one part where he's like, remember that one? She's a really good swimmer. And there's the one part where he's like, you remember when you and your sister were in the pool and she held her breath longer than you and you got so mad? And then I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked outside and you were holding your breath in the pool. And I was like, My mom would have whooped my ass if she woke up in the middle of the
Same.
night and I was in the pool.
Yeah, same.
But it was just weird. But, I mean, I would say go see it.
Well, I'm from Florida, and Gators are a big part of my nightmare terror.
Oh, yeah.
There was, I've told you, one of the big traumas of my life was when I was in that metal boat in the Thousand Islands,
yeah.
and it was me and my dad in this little metal boat in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden the motor wouldn't start up, and we were surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of alligators that just kept coming up to the boat and sticking their snouts pounding this. And my dad would just get out of here, you! And he'd bang him on the head with the oar.
Is that really what James's dad sounds like? Wow.
Yeah. And literally, I was sitting there just, my dad's trying to pull the string on the motor to make it go, and it wouldn't go. And literally, it was 9 hours. Of course, it was probably 20 minutes. But in my head, it's 9 hours surrounded by thousands of alligators.
That is horrible. I mean, that sounds like a scene from Crawl.
I know.
Yeah. So I will probably be very traumatized by that movie.
Well, I would suggest going to see it.
At the theater where it's on the big screen.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's still in theaters.
Okay.
Check it out.
Okay. Well, number 9, James, what do you have?
Number 9.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening on Days of Our Lives right now, because
The fact that it's still on TV is news.
well,
for me.
that's
Is
what I
that
want to
bad?
talk about. That's
Okay.
what I want to talk
Okay.
about, because back in the 90s, there was a character named Kristen DiMera on the show who was played by Eileen Davidson, who is now on Real Housewives.
Well,
of
she
Beverly
was. She's gone now.
Oh, she
but
is.
Remember, you didn't watch Beverly Hills then.
No, I've only seen the last season. Yeah.
Okay, well, she and Lisa Rinna sort of came on at the same time. Lisa was also on Days of Our Lives.
Right.
But she played a character named Kristen DiMera. And then at the same time, later, she also played 6 different characters at the same time. She was Kristen DiMera, then she was Susan Banks. and
That's
she-
Susan. I've told you about Susan.
She'd put
Okay.
on buck teeth and cross her eyes and wear googly glasses, and we were going, "You're a mean girl, Kristen DiMera.
You're a weirdo wearing your
You're-
jammies in the daytime.
And then she also
Jesus.
played Sister Mary Moira, who was Susan Banks' twin sister, but she was a nun. So she had the buck teeth, but she'd run around in a nun's outfit. Then she was Thomas Banks. She was a guy who was also their brother. Then she was Penelope. And then she would do this thing where she would be Kristen pretending to be Susan. So Kristen would put the things in, and she'd go around talking like this, and you'd know because she'd be Susan talking, but she would have Kristen's mannerisms. And then she would be Susan pretending to be Kristen. And then you would have all these
Wow.
layers of
So
things that were
meta.
happening, and it kept getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Well, now they have a new character, a new actress playing Kristen on the show.
Same.
Stacey-
So same character, new act. Do they do that a lot?
Sometimes they'll bring back if they can't
Okay.
get the actress, they'll have another.
What are
actress.
these actors doing that they can't come back?
Well, Eileen Davidson was on
Real
thing,
Housewives.
and then now she's on Young and the Restless.
Yeah,
I would
she
think
does. She does Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives. So.
Yeah, she was doing
Oh,
both
wow.
for a while, but then she's just doing Young and the Restless now. So they have this actress, Stacey Haddock, playing Susan and playing Kristen, but then they've all and Susan playing Kristen and Kristen playing Susan, and they also have added another layer where Kristen DiMera has a rubber mask that is a photorealistic mask of Nicole Walker, who is a character on the show. So she'll put the mask on, and then it'll be the actress who plays Nicole
Okay.
will come on, and it'll be it's Kristen playing Nicole. So it's the actress who does Nicole, and she's playing Nicole, but she's also playing it with Kristen's mannerisms, right? And then so she'll turn around and she'll turn the mask off, and it's back to being Stacey Haddock again.
I want to go to a filming of Days of Our Lives to see one of those scenes.
Well, and then they have it's like green screen where all the characters are interact. It's like Susan runs into the Kristen with the Susan mask, and Susan will be talking to people, and then all of a sudden she'll close the door, and the doorbell will ring, and it'll be the other Susan, and she'll be in a different outfit. They'll be like, "You were just here," and she's like, "I was not. You're crazy." And so it's the thing is, people make fun of soap operas all the time.
Sure.
And they say that it's sort of like an antiquated form of and it really they're on their way out, and they're
Lowest common denominator.
Exactly. But the fact is that very few mediums give actors the ability to play 6 different roles at the same
true.
time,
Sure.
and just let actors
But maybe for good reason.
No, but it's like you're just letting them go as far
Yeah.
and as crazy is you want, and if Stacey can handle being Kristen, being Susan, being Sister Mary Moira, like, and can keep it all straight, because the audience can't keep it straight. Like, you're just like, who is this time? And you have to like wait for the mannerisms of one person, and it's just fascinating to me to watch. And I think that everyone should give it a shot. If you get a chance to watch Days of Our Lives, just DVR it.
Susan is what got me. Well, actually, I started watching, I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade, or the summer of, and it was when Marlena was possessed by the devil.
Same.
Yeah,
I watched it that one summer.
Well,
but
so you know
only
Susan, right? Susan was on.
It sounds vaguely familiar. I remember the like googly glasses, right? Were they like Coke bottle glasses?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was one time where Kristen
and
was
Stefano.
pretending. Yeah, Kristen
I remember that character.
Kristen was marrying Stefano as Susan, and during the wedding, someone knocked her in the face, and the teeth went flying across the room, and that's when it was like revealed.
Kristen.
That actually happened to Blake once at an after-hours party.
It was my glasses.
Your fake teeth went flying out. I never knew.
But you were talking about the kind of ridiculousness of these stories, and later on we're going to talk about some comic book stuff, and that's kind of what it sounds like to me. Right? Like, it's really no more ridiculous than comic books and all of that. So,
yeah, exactly. No, if you're willing just to let your mind go and just go with it, and it's
Well, it's on weekdays on NBC, or you can watch it on the NBC app.
Well, thank you for that. Now, number 8.
Number 8.
So I just got back from 2 weeks in my favorite place on earth, Provincetown, Massachusetts.
I've never been.
I know that I was going to ask if you've never been.
No.
Blake, I know, has been. Blake came with me 1 week, or I guess for part of a week 1 year.
It really wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
I've never been to Fire Island either. I've never been to any of these gay,
And how long did you spend in New York?
I was
you never
there
went to Fire
for 12 years.
Wow.
But I mean,
I never have either, but
Yeah.
I've never.
That is kind of
never
surprising that you never went to Fire. Was it not as big of a deal then as it is now?
Well, it was a different kind of gay that would go. That I was not that kind of gay.
And I feel like it's still kind of that, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
A lot of P-Town is popular as a summer resort town for New York gays. Obviously, Fire Island is also, but they're very different. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, Provincetown is at the very tip of Cape Cod, which kind of does a little curl into the Atlantic. It's located at the very tip. It's the gayest town in the United States according to U.S. Census data, which I didn't know.
And historically, it's been. I mean, it's where I know like Tennessee Williams and Truman Capote and everybody.
So
somewhere there.
It was in the 60s. Well, the town going back as far as like the 1800s, I want to say. It became this town for artists and writers and drag queens, among whom, Tennessee Williams, who you said, Eugene O'Neill, Kerouac, Thoreau, Jackson Pollock. I didn't know until recently. Pollock apparently used some of his work to pay off bar tabs in town, which I thought was cool. So there are people who live in P-Town who have Pollocks at their homes.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. I actually stayed, my first week, I stayed at this place called Captain Jack's Wharf. It's literally a wharf that goes into the water that has different rentals on it. Tennessee Williams apparently stayed there. And wrote some of his masterpieces. They're apparently in one of the bars, which is also the oldest gay bar in the country, called A House, which stands for Atlantic House.
As a matter of fact, there's an episode of Anthony Bourdain where he goes to that ale house that you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that. I need to watch that. But there are apparently in the bar pictures of Tennessee Williams naked on the beach with a few boys.
Ouch! I don't know about that.
Yeah, but so since especially since the 70s, it's kind of been this gay haven. The city's business guild created to bring gay tourism to Provincetown, to P-Town.
Didn't Divine famously do something with the Cockettes, and they had a famous...
Divine lived there for years. John Waters has been spending every summer there since, I think, the 60s, so a very long time.
Well, he's from Baltimore, which is close, too. I mean, it's East Coast, so...
Yeah. So now, these days, there's basically a 3-month summer resort kind of period, right? June, July, August, it kind of slows down in September.
And during those months, there's a ferry from Boston to P-Town that you can take.
So you fly to Boston, you hop on the ferry. But every week throughout those 3 months is kind of a themed week, right? So there's July 4th week, which is kind of which is really popular among, especially I think, New York gays, but is kind of looked down upon by others who refer to it as Tweak Week. It's very like circuit parties, Bear Week, which is I was there for Bear Week, but there's a lot of lesbian weeks.
They also call it CPAPs and jock straps.
But lots of women's weeks. There's a family week, which at the consternation of a lot of the gays, obviously, and then Carnival Week, which is mid-August, which is just a crazy party week. There's
like a Mardi Gras type thing.
Yeah.
Well, and there's tons of lots of our girls, Rue girls.
Well, I was just going to say, I know that Raja
like
has been doing it.
Yeah,
and
so this season, Raja, I think, has her third summer show.
Yeah.
Tammy Brown is there this season. Milk is there with a show this summer. Lots of drag.
Did you see Raja's? Did you see Milk's?
I wasn't able to see Raja's show. I did see Milk's show.
How was that?
And I did see a few other. Milk show was good. It was a play. She was playing a character called Alfie. But yeah, it was her first show.
Did she write it?
She did.
And how is that?
It was.
Does
it was
Alfie
good.
have? Does Alfie have all the costumes that Milk does?
Alfie, there was a lot of costume changing. There was a lot of on-stage costume changing. He can perform.
Yeah,
he can really perform. The performances were definitely the highlight of the show. His song choices I thought were great. He does do the song Alfie in the show, which I love.
What's it all about? We'll go out with that song, I think.
Okay.
Love it. But my last night, I did see Dina Martina, who
Oh,
is
I
kind
love
of a
Dina.
P-Town
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
legend. One of the funniest, not even funniest drag queens, one of the funniest
people on the
performers.
planet.
I mean, it's
Just a nut, just a crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
literally just a lunatic.
She's Looney Tunes, and that's why we love her.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was such a good trip. I went for 2 weeks this time, which I'd never done before. I just want to be back. I don't want to be here.
And you're
I
going to
wanna be
go
back.
again Halloween. They have
So
this.
Halloween is also a really fun time to go. It's like it's not a whole week. It's kind of an extended weekend in October, obviously. We're gonna go back. I've been trying to
Spooky
get
Bear.
I've been trying to get Blake to come for Halloween, but
Yeah.
to no avail yet.
It's
but
expensive,
It's a lot of fun.
but it's fun. Yeah. I want to remind everyone that on James's birthday, about a week away, $1 Million Listings New York returns.
I've sort of been in denial about that. Is it really a week?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
9 p.m. on Bravo. Set your DVRs.
Okay. Well, we'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Well, welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, our countdown of the top 10 things from this week that made us go, wow. I'm James St. James, and I'm joined by our producer, Blake Jacob.
Hi.
And executive editor of Hornet, Stephen Horbell, who are filling in for Fenton Bailey and Tom Campbell.
I love how he always leaves the T off of your name.
Yeah, there is a T on the end of my name.
Horbelt?
Horbelt. It's exactly how it
Like
looks.
what the belts
it's
that
as
whores
vulgar
wear.
sounding as
Yeah,
it looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a chastity belt
But
for
I like
whores.
that you make me sound fancier than I actually am.
Horbell.
Stephen Horbell. Okay, well, let's see. Number 7. What is that, Blake?
Number 7.
I wanted to talk a little bit about what is streaming,
Which
in
it's
terms
like
of
when-
movies.
Oh, I thought you meant like at nighttime when I pee.
no.
No, okay.
You do that a lot at
I
night.
do,
though.
I-
Does it count as streaming if it happens in bed?
13, 14 times a night. I really
Oh.
have a problem.
Well, first up on Hulu, a couple of weeks ago, I told y'all about Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's still on.
Right.
You have to watch it. It's hilarious. Steven's never seen it.
You know,
Sorry,
also
I'm
it's
sorry.
also playing at it was playing at Outfest last week, so they were doing
nice.
yeah, they had a big special screening for it.
That's awesome. Also on Hulu, Less Than Zero. You know, I live for that movie.
One of your favorite movies of all time. I know that.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as good as the book, but I kind of
Well,
like
you know,
the
there's
cheesy
famously
80s.
not one line of dialogue from the book in the movie.
Right.
Really?
yeah.
That's one of the reasons why Bret Easton Ellis hated the movie.
Well, he's actually come out and said that he's okay with it now.
Well,
for what
I'm
it is.
sure he is after.
he's come out saying a lot of things recently.
Yeah,
that-
you know. But First Wives Club, also on Hulu.
one of the best movies of all time.
Raja and who all did that? Raja,
So
Brooklyn
in LA,
Heights.
Raja, Brooklyn Heights, and Ginger Minge did it. It's
Uh-huh.
actually in P-Town right now.
Oh.
With Varla Jean Merman and Jinx and Liza Lott.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of that is the old lady, Maggie Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, playing Pat Buckley.
Well, no, that movie. Not to get us too off track, that movie is all about the guest stars. Maggie Smith, Sarah Jessica Parker is amazing in it.
Why
Marsha
don't you
Gay
find
Harden,
this in your size?
Your size. Marsha Gay Harden is the therapist sleeping with her client's husband. Like, it's all about the guest stars in that movie.
Stalker
They're
Channing.
so good. Yeah.
Okay, on HBO Go, we have Big Business, which is one of my all-time favorite movies from the 80s.
You have talked about that a lot,
Bette
yeah.
Midler.
I never liked it.
Are you kidding?
I walked out, in fact.
Well, I think we both saw that movie when we were at a certain age that it probably kind of left an imprint on us that you know.
Yeah.
How dare? What are you incinerating, sir?
I'm just saying that when you're young, you fall in love with movies that are not
and
the
when
best.
I was old?
That are not the best, but then when you get older, they still
Yeah, in 1988, you had better things to do.
Well,
than
I think
go-
I was coked out of my mind,
Right.
and I was probably irritated. I would
Maybe
probably
we
been up
were
all
too.
day.
You don't know us like that.
Beaches is also on HBO.
See, I walked out of that one too. I hated that.
I just saw that for the first time recently.
You know, I can watch it now and I can appreciate it now. I think in the 80s I had a problem. Like I told you, I walked out of Steel Magnolias because their accents were so bad. And I'm from the South, and literally it was like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. I couldn't take it.
Wow.
Now I just watched it for the first time and I, was crying.
yeah,
I loved it.
it's such an endearing movie. Yeah.
Drink your juice.
Shelby.
Drink your juice.
Yeah.
Ben. I've never seen Ben.
And the
But
two
Tom
of
just talked
us
about it, so-
mean-
Now the Michael Jackson song is not from that movie.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
But it's the mice, the rats, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's that Willard, the guy who played Will.
Yeah.
I love him.
And also was in Charlie's Angels. Was the bad guy in Charlie's Angels?
What?
Yeah. That when they did the remake of Willard,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the '70s Willard. The '70s.
Yeah, I'm just saying they remade it with.
You're trying to act all millennial on me, aren't you?
Well, Boys Don't Cry is on HBO.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Color of Night.
Although I must say that people now are viewing it as sort of vaguely problematic that it was
Really?
a just actress playing. And,
Oh, well,
you know,
yeah.
and that whole thing. So.
But we've come so far since then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, Color of Night. I only included that because you can pause it and see Bruce Willis's
peen.
dong.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Don't tell Mom the babysitter's dead.
One of my every
See,
line.
that's another
dialogue.
generational thing right there
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm sure you guys were at the age.
Also a terrible movie. But we saw when you see it something like that at a certain age, it's like it's imprinted on
Yeah.
you.
Right.
You know,
Gia,
love.
Right.
The
Sure.
Land Before Time, a cartoon, which was on.
Oh yeah, with the Slee Stacks, right?
No,
No, that's
that-
Lost in Time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mean Girls, Son-in-Law, and Striptease, all on HBO.
Wow.
And then on CBS, I just wanted to get through this: Blair Witch Project, the Brady Bunch movies, Carrie the original, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jawbreaker.
Love.
If you haven't seen Jawbreaker, I feel like a lot of people haven't. You should
People
see
who
it.
haven't seen Jawbreaker don't get Blake. Like if you've never seen it,
Well,
kind of like how if you've never seen Paris is Burning, you don't understand what a lot of gay men are saying.
Right,
You
right.
don't get the lingo. If you've never seen Jawbreaker, you don't get Blake.
you
It
killed
is. It's one of my favorite movies, and I actually know the director. I met him
Darren
out
Stein.
here.
I was
Yeah.
going to say Darren is a good friend
Yeah.
of all of ours,
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
friend of World of Wonder. Love him.
So check that out on CBS.
Well, now wait. Have you been watching Euphoria? Have you guys been doing? Oh, is that another thing you're talking about later? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cut that out. I didn't even say it. So. Okay.
All right, you can stream those on Hulu, HBO, and CBS. James, what do you got at number 6?
Number 6.
I have to there's a lot to unpack here. I went to go see Lion King.
We saw that last night.
Yeah, Nolan was on the show and he was raving about it, and he was Nolan, who was Fenton's
Yeah, I've met
son.
Nolan, yeah.
Yeah. And he really recommended it us, and so I wanted to sort of follow up because I saw it again, and it's pretty magnificent. The CGI is unbelievable.
I know Nolan was saying he couldn't really tell that the animal's a moat or something, but I thought I didn't have a problem with that.
You had mentioned that to me before we saw it, and I was looking out for that specifically, and I thought it was,
it is a different kind of emoting than the cartoon did.
Well,
because,
yeah.
the cartoon was,
Sure, yeah.
everyone is so expressive and everything. And it is hard to get CGI animals to
and keep them realistic.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it's Billy Eichner's movie all the way. I thought that he was absolutely fantastic.
Well,
I
That's
thought
what
him
you
and
said.
Seth Rogen, that was actually,
Yeah.
Funny enough, that was one of the few things I said to Blake after we saw it. I was expecting to hate the Timon and Pumbaa character.
I was too,
I
and
didn't like
I'm
them
not a
in the
big fan.
cartoon.
I'm not a Billy Eichner fan, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of him and Seth Rogen, but yeah, I wasn't expecting to like the characters. They were, I thought, my favorite part of the whole movie.
And first of all, I think that he's Oscar bound, and I would like for him to be Oscar nominated because Andy Serkis never got it for Gollum, and I think that it would be nice for somebody to, because he was so expressive and so emotive, and so like you see everything. I mean, like it's unbelievable. It's Oscar.
You want Billy Eichner to get an Oscar for
Tim,
playing Timon.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think that would be fantastic. I think, like I said, Andy Serkis, who has done so much great work and never gets noticed for it. I think it would be a nice way to sort of pay back for that. I did read that he played it as gay. He says that because he's a gay man. Billy Eichner says that Timon is gay. I'm gay. I have what may be considered a gay sensibility, and I'm going to bring that to the table just the way Nathan did. I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm going to lean into it. And he also said that he played it like he and Pumbaa were lovers, and that they were
really,
yeah, and that he says that he doesn't know how a meerkat and a warthog would have sex, but he's still playing them like a couple, and that they both played it like that, and they were both riffing on it, and a lot of the dialogue was improvised. They actually sat in a room together, which is very rare in these movies, and so they were sitting together so they could riff on each other. I think it's
and you said Nathan, you mean Nathan Lane, who played Pumbaa in the last movie?
I thought he played,
or in the original movie.
I think Nathan Lane played Timon.
Yeah, he played Timon.
Oh,
but I don't know who played Pumbaa.
I think he was Pumbaa, but
well, I think we can look that up.
But
anyway,
this is all new to me.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
It's interesting too because I just was reading another article saying they miss Disney's queer-coded villains, and if you looked at this one, who's the villain?
Scar
was played as heterosexual this time. Or if you recall, when he was playing the other one.
But was he gay or just British last time?
No. He was, if you remember, he was limp-wristed. He was completely limp-wristed.
I do vaguely recall a part of the cartoon where he lifts up, and he is literally a limp-wristed.
He is literally limp-wristed, and he's not going after Simba's mother.
Yeah.
He is playing it gay, and they talk about how so many of the Disney villains are queer-coded. When you think of Jafar was completely gay, and this time he's not.
Ursula is
based on a drag queen.
You guys were right. Sorry, Timon was. Nathan Lane was Timon.
Governor Ratcliffe in Pocahontas was gay. I mean, when you think of so many of the villains, and they are the ones that you aren't supposed, like Cruella de Vil and everything is so camp, and that's what.
Arnie Sabella.
Can we move along? Can we move over here? I'm talking about something very important here. We're talking about the queer coding of Disney villains and how that's not happening anymore. Disney is saying that it's is now Melissa McCarthy, who is not playing it as a camp drag queen, and that little gay boys identified with the villains growing up because they were some of the only gay representation that you ever saw, and they were the most fabulous people in the movies. And when you, now that Disney thinks that it's problematic to queer code as gay and to make the villains gay, so they aren't doing it anymore. And it's a good thing because it's we don't need that.
Not all gays are bad.
We don't need that anymore. But at the same time, it's taking away some of the color of the villains.
Sure. But also let's be clear. It's not just Disney does have a history of queer coding its villains, absolutely. But I also feel like it's not just Disney, right? And it's never just been animated films either. I feel like for some reason I'm thinking of like Alan Rickman in Die Hard, right? Like, and I don't know if Alan Rickman is gay or not, but he definitely played that villain as kind of a little femme and very, Well,
a lot of when you think of
what's Inspector Gadget. The villain.
Oh yeah,
with the cat.
With the cat.
Yeah, a lot of. Psycho. He's a man, and
sure.
Like you can go back to the 30s and 40s, and they're all sort of effeminate, lip-wristed, and everything. But a lot of times, those are the most fabulous characters, and those are the ones that you enjoy going to the movie to see.
Yeah.
And so,
growing up, my favorite Disney film was always Sleeping Beauty. For a couple reasons. I loved the three witches. Anything with witches, I'm sold.
The three fairies, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess they weren't witches. They were fairies. You're right. Maleficent, the best Disney villain in Disney history, in my opinion.
Now, have you seen...
Ursula's maybe a close second.
Cruella is up there with me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited they're doing a live-action Cruella.
Yeah.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, which sort of... She's like a street kid in London in the 80s.
So it's a young Cruella. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, well, moving on. We're at number 5. Steven.
Number 5.
So, talking about Disney kind of easily goes into, I want to talk about Marvel's Phase 4, which was just announced at Comic-Con. Disney, of course, owns Marvel now. That was kind of, big headlines recently. But so Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige got up at Comic-Con, basically announced all of the upcoming films and TV shows for the next 2 years. And apparently they already have this will be Phase 4.
Well, back it up, because Phase 3 ended with Endgame, right? And
so Phase 1, 2, and 3 are part of something that they're calling the Infinity Saga. And it ended with, technically it didn't end with Endgame, it actually ended with Spider-Man Far From Home, which was the most recent Spider-Man
But I
movie.
also read that was
the
supposed
last.
to be the first for Phase 4, but they moved it to the last of Phase 3.
I hadn't heard that.
well, I still don't know what any of this is.
In terms of the phasing?
Yeah, what happened at the end of Phase 3 that now we can move on to another phase? What's going on?
Are we worried about spoilers at
No,
this point
hell
for
no.
Endgame?
We have 3 listeners and nobody cares.
So at the end of Endgame, they basically, saved the universe. There was a lot of time travel involved. But basically,
Well, because everyone had turned into dust at the end of Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
And
Well, so not half of the universe had turned into dust, right? And so the heroes that were left kind of took it upon themselves to kind of try to kind of
But are the people who
correct-
are dusted still dusted? Did they end up being?
No, so they came back. They came back.
Okay,
like
so-
nothing had ever happened.
But I thought that we weren't getting Tony Stark anymore. I thought he was
so
gone.
some characters did die. Some of the main characters did die. If you haven't seen it yet, cover your ears. So Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow.
But I thought we have a Black Widow
died.
movie coming up.
Yeah.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
So she's gone. Captain America's gone.
What? We can't live without his butt.
And Iron Man dead.
Well, I can do without Iron Man. I was never a fan.
But so that's but the loss of those big heroes is kind of part of setting the tone for Phase 4. So the new Spider-Man movie that
Well,
that
and
just recently
how is
came
he
out,
going out without his mentor? Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, so that's a big part of the story. Is
He
kind
has
of
to
like
grow
finding
up. He has to
who is
grow
the
up.
new Iron Man, like who's the hero kind of replacement for him. But so they announced a lot of TV shows, which are obviously going to be on the new Disney Plus, this
Platform.
new streaming service that's coming out. I'm not as excited about the TV shows. They're mostly about pushing along the storylines of these characters we already know, right? So Falcon and Winter Soldier have a show. There's a show called WandaVision.
Wait, isn't Winter Soldier, isn't that Stan?
Sebastian
And
Stan.
is he going to play it in the TV series? Do we have a Sebastian Stan TV series?
Well, so him and
What?
Falcon are going to be in the show together. It's basically 2 heroes. It's like a buddy, like a buddy
there.
series.
I'm
Like a
there.
Timon and Pumbaa.
There you go. The Timon and Pumbaa with guns, with weapons. So the Scarlet Witch. There's a series. The series is called WandaVision.
Which I was really excited about until I found out what it was about.
Which Wanda were you hoping?
Wanda Sykes. A fish called.
Loki. So Tom Hiddleston's getting his own series.
Stop it.
That should be really cool.
He's condescending to do a TV series on a streaming network?
But I think TV has a different kind of place in culture right now, right? Like, we're constantly
It's
all
the second
watching
golden
these-
age of TV.
But I can imagine Tom Hiddleston doing an HBO series, but doing
Well, but I think Disney is really kind of upping the bar, and Marvel especially. they don't skimp, right?
Well,
So
I mean,
think-
why else would you get the Disney Plus to watch the
Well, but
reruns of
I'm
That's So
thinking
Raven?
because
They're gonna have
DC has the Titans and everything, and I'm
Sure,
thinking this is
sure.
sort of like nobody watches that, and it's like
Well, but this is Marvel.
really is that big of a difference?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. Hawkeye's getting his own series in fall 2021, and then they're also doing an animated series called What If. What If is a comic book title from back in the day where they would basically just
What
kind of
if Spider-Man was
postulate these
actually-
weird things.
yeah,
exactly.
was it a beetle?
What if Storm was Thor? Like weird stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that's going to be a new animated series. So then you have the films, which I'm so excited about mostly because they're bringing in all of these new amazing actors into the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? So Black Widow is next. You mentioned that. Rachel Weisz and David Harbour from Stranger Things are going to be in that with her.
The hunky cop.
Yeah, the hunky cop. The Eternals, Angelina Jolie, love. Richard Madden, love.
You love Richard Madden.
Wait, Wait. Angelina Jolie and Richard Madden are doing a TV series.
And Salma Hayek.
What? No, this is not true.
Yes,
this isn't
and
true.
Kumail Nanjiani.
No.
They're all going to be in this new movie. It's called The Eternals.
Oh,
it's
in a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were still on the TV series.
No, yeah, we've gone past TV. So this is The Eternal. The movie comes out November 2020. But so you've got all of these amazing big name actors joining the MCU. I love it.
But wasn't it The Eternals? Wasn't it like hippy dippy, like sort of like 70s?
So it's about these immortal beings, blah blah blah. I don't think it was ever a really popular comic series. But then again, neither was some of these. We've seen a lot of these characters thus far that were never really huge characters, right? Like. But Marvel's done this amazing job of kind of turning them into like must-see movies.
Right, like the Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'd never even heard of that until...
not a hugely popular character necessarily. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, so the first Asian Marvel superhero coming to the big screen. A new Doctor Strange movie called In the Multiverse of Madness. It's going to be apparently a horror film. Okay. Super stoked about that one.
But I'm not a big Benedict Cumberbatch fan.
Oh,
and
you didn't like Doctor Strange? I thought it was one of the best. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah. The new Thor movie. So this is a big one. So Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor has retired as of Endgame, right? So you have Tessa Thompson, who plays the Valkyrie character. She is now the king of Asgard, and she said at Comic-Con that her first act as king is going to be to find a queen. So she will be the first LGBTQ Marvel superhero in the films. Super exciting. Maybe even more exciting, though, Natalie Portman, who was always the love interest in the Thor movies, she plays Jane, is going to be Lady Thor in this fourth Thor movie. That's a whole storyline taken right from the comic books.
And it will be directed by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, he's coming back to direct again. He directed Ragnarok. But I cannot wait. I don't know how I feel about Natalie Portman being a superhero and B, Thor. But we're gonna see. And then they also
isn't Lady Thor blonde?
She is.
Okay. So she's gonna be put on a blonde wig.
Maybe she picks up the hammer and it's like a craft moment where she just. And then last, Mahershala Ali is going to be playing Blade.
Okay.
Previously played by Wesley Snipes. A lot of people don't realize that's a Marvel superhero.
I was going to say, who knew?
Yeah. He's a vampire/vampire hunter. And then they said that there's a Captain Marvel 2, Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in the works. Faye also hinted at Fantastic Four being in the works, so redoing that.
Never.
But hopefully correctly. It's been done really poorly twice now. And then eventually bringing the X-Men back into the whole thing. I'm super excited that they're all going to be living in the same universe, finally.
Okay.
All right. Well, I want to remind
nerd rant.
I want to remind everyone to get their tickets for RuPaul's Drag Con. It'll be September 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Javits Center in New York. Get your tickets at RuPaul'sDragCon.com. We'll be right back after this break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, our countdown of the top 10 things from this week that made us go, wow. I'm James St. James. I'm joined by producer Blake Jacobs and executive editor of Hornet, Stephen Belt.
Thank you.
Who are filling in for Fenton Bailey and Tom Campbell. Well, let's just get right to it. Number 4, Blake.
Number 4.
I want to talk about Orville Peck. Have you guys heard of him?
Well, I have. You made me listen to him in the car the other day, and I'm just in trance.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Orville Peck is a pseudonym, and one article published by Vice described him as presumably older than 20 and younger than 40.
Okay.
He's a country-ish crooner.
He's a masked singer.
Yeah, I call him a mix between Roy Orbison, Chris Isaac, even a little Elvis, a little Lana Del Rey thrown in, mixed with the Lone Ranger.
I think that's actually, I agree with that.
Do we want to listen to just like 30 seconds right now real quick, just so you can get a hint of what he sounds like?
Yeah, we will for the radio listeners. If you're on YouTube, I'm sorry.
Oh, see, now that is just absolutely, I'm just like really right there. I'm sort of in love.
Totally. So some sources have postulated that Peck is a persona of Daniel Pithout, who was a drummer of some Canadian punk band called New Sensei.
Now, how would anyone even come up with that?
Well, they say
Come up with what?
That sounds just like Daniel Pate if he was a singer.
I feel like
it's based on his tattoos, actually.
I've seen the.
Gotta be careful.
Okay.
He's on Sub Pop Records, which is the record company that started Nirvana, Soundgarden. More recently, the Postal Service, Beach House, Flight of the Conchords, Slater-Kinney, the Shins.
He pronounced it right, Slater-Kinney. We got in an argument about that not too long ago, that it's pronounced Slater-Kinney and not Sleater-Kinney. Anyway.
I would love to be around for your arguments.
No, you are sometimes, I'm sure.
His videos are a lot like a gay Lana Del Rey.
I was going to say there's who is the one who shaved Cindy?
Katie Lang.
Yeah, there's a little Katie Lang in there too.
A little in the pop country crossover-ish.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see how this plays out. Like when we find out who he is, if we ever do, will we still care?
Well, I mean, he has the chops. I mean, he's definitely got the singer-songwriter and the voice and the persona. So I'm hoping that he's a hunky, homo, but I don't.
I think he's definitely queer. Like the lyrics are totally queer.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even care if he's 70 years old or something at this point. I mean, I just think that he's really talented and really someone to watch.
He definitely has a gimmick going for him, but I think he has a lot more than that. So it's not a case of
exactly.
It's like Sia, right? Like
Yeah.
Sia was doing this ridiculous thing where she didn't want us to know who she is, but she also had the chops. So it was,
I think this is pretty much similar to that. Yeah.
Well, some of the songs you should check out: "Dead of Night," "Turn to Hate," "Big Sky," "Take You Back," "Hope to Die." And
those all sound like Lana Del Rey songs.
I know, that's what I said too.
Especially what was "Hope to Die." That's very Lana.
Like "Born to Die," yeah. He's going to be in Santa Ana on August 14th. Steven and I are actually going. I bought tickets, $20 each.
Well, I think you'll have to come back and tell us about it. Tell us about the concert.
And he'll be at the Troubadour He'll be in San Diego August 15th, the Troubadour in WeHo 17th and 18th, and in San Francisco on August 19th.
Now, have any of these songs hit the radio yet? Are any of them
I don't
in
think
top
it's
40?
really a radio.
There aren't any radio-friendly hits?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say they're not radio-friendly, but I don't know if country music stations are going to play him because he's gay.
Definitely an artist that's kind of tough to peg, right? Because it's not country, it's not pop.
Well, but I mean, Lana has, there have been country.
Lana's never really
Little
been a
Nas
big.
X, for Christ's sakes. I mean, is the biggest star on the planet.
Sure.
Lana's never really had a big radio career either.
Well, how dare you?
Yeah, it's much more of a visual kind of thing, and I think Orville Peck is a lot like that.
Lana has
too.
one of the biggest hits for her career right now on the radio.
Well,
The
that's
Sublime
true.
Cover? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
That is true. That's like one of the biggest ones. Like her other one was Summertime Sadness.
Yeah, and that was inescapable for a good year.
Yeah. That in the tacky remix of it.
So, but I mean, I think that Orville, could be one of the all-time greats.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. What am I? Number what?
You're number 3.
Number 3.
Oh, number 3. After seeing The Lion King and Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, I am really an aficionado of CGI, and when it's done right, it is really done.
Sure.
It's amazing. And then I saw the Cats trailer, and I know this is a week on now, but I'm still bitching about it, and I'm still upset about it because it was one of the biggest travesties, I think, in modern era.
Wow.
Okay. I'm going on a limb and saying that never before in the history of movies has there been something so just god-awful and embarrassing.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to say something that's probably not a popular opinion, but I always thought that the fucking play looks stupid.
Well, the play is stupid. The play is absolutely it's one of the worst things that's ever been on Broadway. It is basically.
And then I heard
But
that
it's
they
also
come
one
up
of the
behind you and
longest
scare
running.
you.
What?
That's what I heard on Broadway.
So it's like Hollywood Horror Nights on top of all that?
No. The story of Cats is it's T.S. Eliot, and he wrote a children's book about cats, and it's one
And
cat
this
comes.
loosely strings them together,
But
right?
not
The
even.
stories
Not
together.
even. It's each cat comes out and introduces himself, and he's like, "I'm Rum Tum Tugger, and I'm a crazy cat," and the other one's like, "I'm Grisabella, I'm an old cat, and I've been through it all," and and each cat is out there just introducing themselves. They each get one song, and then they all gather together at the end, and the idea is that cats have 9 lives, and one of them gets to die and go on to the next life. And they all decide who had the saddest story, and that person gets to go on to their next. They commit
That's
suicide
deep and
go
dark.
on and go into the sky and have their next life. And spoiler alert, it's Grisabella who sings Memories. She gets to commit suicide.
Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah, Jennifer
Okay.
Hudson, who is Betty Buckley. Many famous people have played this over
Sure.
the years. But Grisabella is she's an older cat, and she's sort of been through a lot. And she's used to be a glamorous movie star, but now she's like just this sort of
She was a movie star cat.
Well, she was like a movie star. She was like Greta
Okay.
Garbo, or she was
Okay.
like a beautiful cat. And now she's like an old woman, and she's singing about her memory of my day in the moonlight. Blah blah blah. Anyway, so Jennifer Hudson is in her 30s. She's in the prime of her life. There's no reason on earth she should be Grisabella the Glamour Cat. You have Dame Judi Dench in the theater.
I thought that's
why
who
would
she
she
would be
not be?
playing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. The problem with it is this.
It's
awful,
Taylor Swift, right?
Well, Taylor-
How dare you?
No, it's the digital fur that they've added. They aren't even in cat outfits. They are just in green suits, and then the fur is digitized onto them, and it is a travesty. It is just awful, and their faces are like weirdly floating around. Their faces are floating around their heads. It's awful. The sizing, the scaling is all wrong. If you look at they're the size
Well, I
of
noticed
mice.
that the women
have
breasts.
boobs, and then some of the other cats are wearing fur coats. Like, why are cats wearing the fur of other cats? Like, it's just wrong. But the scaling's all wrong. If you look at them, they're the size of mice, and they're up at they've got a fork, and the fork is like 10 times bigger.
Speaking of cat genitals, we noticed in The Lion King that none of them had genitals.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did you notice that? When
No,
you saw
I
The
was
Lion
not
King?
looking for
Don't
their
make us
butts.
sound
You
like
guys, you
perverted.
weirdos.
No, it was very obvious that none of the male lions
Had nuts.
Well,
anything.
I guess we have to go back and now look for cat butts in the cat things. But anyway, the whole point of Cats to me was that we were going to see Idris Elba in a spandex suit. We were going to see Idris Elba package. We were going to see
But
Idris
we don't
Elba.
really want to see them in cheap-looking spandex.
Well, no, but the point of the movie.
He just wants to see his bulge.
I do. I'm just there for the bulge.
Which I've heard is the big reason why people would go see Cats on Broadway. The part of the allure was seeing these actors in tight spandex.
Yes, and the outfits are ridiculous and look like something you get at Party City, and that's sort of the fun of it. When I was sort of hoping for the same thing in this, it takes me back, and I know you're with me on this one, to the Green Lantern days, when all of a sudden it was announced that Ryan Reynolds was going to be Green Lantern, and the idea of him in that spandex suit was just too luscious, and we were all so excited. Then we go, and it's CGI, and it's a cartoon, and they think that it's just heterosexual boys who go to superhero movies, but it's not. It's gay boys who go because
And gay men.
and it's 14-year-old girls who are in love with with Ryan Reynolds, and they're the reason you go, and that's why you put them in these tight little outfits. And to CGI it is just wrong, and I think that's what it takes me back to the trauma of Green Lantern all over again.
Yeah. Can I say one last thing about Cats? I do have this weird connection to it because it opened on Broadway on October 7, 1982, which happens to be my birthday.
Really?
It's like the one thing that happened on my birthday. I've never seen Cats. I've never really wanted to see it, but maybe for that reason alone, I will have to go see the movie.
Well, if it's less than an hour and a half, I'll go. But
I mean, there's no way we can all not go. I mean, it's not. And I've seen that the director has listened to the outrage online, and has said that he's completely retooling it before it comes out.
Oh, it's one of those things?
Yeah.
I kind of...
You don't like it when they do that? You would rather?
No, I feel like...
You're just pandering
if
to...
you had a vision... Yeah, I mean, that's
you're
literally
pandering
the
to
definition
social
of
media.
pandering,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
all right, Steven, number 2.
Number 2.
So I wanted to briefly touch on HBO's current summer slate of television because I think it's really a good one.
And lots of dick.
Well, yes.
Well, wait,
Yes.
because a lot of people canceled their subscriptions after Game of Thrones, and they were saying, "Okay, what?"
Did they?
Yeah, they were like, "Well, what can HBO do to top that? I'm out. I don't need to pay for HBO anymore."
Wow.
And then all of a
I
sudden,
hadn't heard that.
now all of a sudden, everyone is like coming back because of this great slate of.
Well, I hope they up their prices.
Why would you say such a thing? So first of all, Big Little Lies season 2 ended this past Sunday, so only a few days ago.
Did Meryl get murdered?
I
No
am not
spoiler
going
alerts.
to. Yeah, I'm not going to.
Well, they aren't
spoil
having a season
anything.
3. They've already announced that.
Yeah, so the Nicole Kidman said that she would like a season 3. I guess the HBO president said it's not realistic. I don't think it's happening. I think the kind of big consensus around season 2 was that it was kind of meh. I kind of agree with that. The cast, obviously, amazing, right? The 5 women, amazing. The addition of Meryl Streep, who was amazingly kind of evil. But even with Meryl,
Well, the writing wasn't there because it wasn't the original author. They didn't have the source material.
Yeah, right.
It's like
they
the
had to
Game of
start from
Thrones
scratch.
thing where
Sort of, yeah. You can't get me to say anything bad about Game of Thrones, but yeah.
Same. Huge Game of Thrones fan. I think the biggest issue was that season 1 had real stakes, right? The very first scene of season 1, you see that there's a murder, right? And the entire season is about leading up to this murder. Season 2, you don't have those stakes, and so it was just very.
I heard it was just monologuing. Everyone was just monologuing the whole
Yeah,
time, and
and
that's a sign of sloppy writing.
Yeah. So that ended. Big Little Lies season 2. The second big, and I think maybe the most fascinating, the most exciting, Euphoria, right? So it's got 2 more episodes of this season. It's been talked about a lot, mostly because of, like Blake mentioned, the male nudity, the penises. There's already been a lot of male nudity in this show.
there was one scene with like 30 of them,
Yeah.
like in a locker room.
So I think it was the 3rd episode, maybe. There was a scene in the locker room. I jotted down, it was a veritable symphony
Of ding-dongs.
penises. Yes. But so the show, it's based on an Israeli show of the same name. Drake is one of the executive producers. It stars Zendaya, who I think is an up-and-coming, she's going to be huge between this and her Spider-Man performance, which, yeah, it's a comic book movie, but a lot of critics were actually raving over her performance, said that she was great in Spider-Man. She's obviously amazing in this. So Zendaya stars. They've got a trans actress named Hunter Schafer who plays the trans best friend Jules. Amazing. Barbie Ferreira is this body positive model who's amazing in the show. So lots of really great kind of first time or early on in their career young actors. Lots of male nudity.
But just drugs and male nudity is
Yeah.
sort
So
of
Zendaya's character just got out of rehab for drug addiction. She's right back into it. She has drug problems. Yeah.
Okay. And then also Chernobyl is something
Chernobyl just ended. A lot of people raved about that. Years and Years is another show that people are talking about. Divorce, the 3rd season, 3rd and final season.
Blech.
Yeah, not watching that one. And then HBO's doing a series of 3 different true crime documentaries, one of which is about
I love true crime.
the Killin' Channel. Blake is a fan of the Killin' Channel. That's what I
channel.
call it. But the best of those 3 true crime docs is called I Love You Now Die. It's about Michelle Carter, the girl who was accused and went to court for texting her boyfriend to suicide. It was in the headlines a lot.
I remember.
Really fascinating, really, really sad story.
Yeah.
You kind of learn more about kind of her background. It's just tragic all around, but really, really great documentaries.
So HBO still has a lot on their slate.
Oh yeah. And then they've got a bunch of stuff coming. So yeah, I don't get why anyone would get rid of their HBO subscription. That sounds insane to me.
Well, watch all episodes of Big Little Lies on HBO Go or HBO Now, and we have to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll reveal the number 1 thing this week that made us go, wow. This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm James St. James here with Blake Jacobs and Stephen Horbelt.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we are now down to our number 1 thing that made us go wow this week, and it is
Number 1.
Wasping. Do you guys know what this is? Do you know what I'm talking
Does
about?
it involve snooty white women?
Well, it can.
Okay.
They are not immune.
It's a new drug craze that's happening in West Virginia. It's where
Of all places.
Of all places, it's where you take wasp spray, you spray it onto a screen. Okay, and then you hook
Like a window screen?
yeah, you take a window screen, you spray the wash spray.
mesh.
Yeah, and it will sort of gather droplets on it, right? And then you take a car battery and hook it up to the screen, and that crystallizes it. It gives a volt of electricity, and it crystallizes the wasp spray, and then you can scrape it up and snort it or inject it or do whatever you want with it.
Wow.
And
this isn't venom. It's like
no.
Wasp
It's
spray.
killer spray?
Yeah. It's like
Raid.
Yeah, you go get some Raid and you spray it on a screen, and it's one of those things. Well, who came up with that? Who realized?
Well, how
People
many
in
people?
West Virginia.
I mean, how many people died before they got the
formula right.
before they were able to tweak it just perfectly. Yeah. Well, then and they say that what it does is it gives like a quick meth-like high. You get a little crazed, you get a little you're jittery and jumpy, but it also makes your hands and feet swell up to like 10 times their size, their proportion. So you have these giant hands and feet, and you're acting all crazy, and that's what people are going bananas for. And they're saying that they can't keep like Raid on the shelves in this one town in West Virginia. It's moving up into Ohio. Some people have been wasping, and I just always think it's important to know what the kids are doing to keep in touch.
What were some of the other things like Jenkum?
Well, remember Gen
Oh,
Cam?
not-
That
are
was
we
something.
really gonna talk about
well,
Jenkum?
in South Africa, I believe it was the street kids in South Africa or Ethiopia or somewhere. Maybe I can't even remember what, but they would take pee and poop and put it in a plastic bag and let it ferment, and then you would huff it, and it would give you hallucinations. And they would say that if you're living on the streets, that it would take you out of your misery. And so,
Well, there's that, and then there was Crocodile.
remember Crocodile? Oh, the good times we had on Crocodile, where your face would rot off. Remember? Yeah, that was in Russia.
and you would eat other people's faces. Don't forget about that.
Well, that was
bath salts.
yeah.
That was,
Oh,
right.
that's
that was
right.
the zombie epidemic in Miami in South Florida, and then there was
we
Flocka.
talk about that often.
Remember, Flocka is still happening in Florida, and that's when people are going absolutely bananas and killing people. And so it's just I do that so as a public service announcements, just so that everyone knows what's happening in drug culture.
So now we can expect Raid to be one more thing behind the glass.
Yeah, with
I'll
the top
tell you,
pod.
I try and buy cough syrup. I try and buy nasal spray, and I get carded every single time. And it's like, really? You aren't going to let me get some like?
They think you're too young, James.
Oh, that's what. And on that note, I leave you.
Well, I want to remind everyone of one more streaming movie. It's on our Wow Presents Plus streaming service, only $3.99 a month.
cheaper than a latte.
Party Monster.
What?
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
It's on. Where is it?
it's on Wow Presents Plus.
Oh, be ding donged. I had no clue.
Yep, download it. $3.99 a month.
One of my favorite movies.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, I guess that's all for this week, right?
Yeah.
Until next week, let's go out and do
Do something that
that
makes the world go. Wow!